Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, exploring the most pivotal moments that have shaped human civilization. Today, we find ourselves on the cusp of a tale that would forever alter the trajectory of history, the Battle of Gaugamela, fought in the year 331 BC. This epic clash between two titans of the ancient world, Alexander the Great and Darius III of Persia, is a story of valor, strategy, and the unyielding pursuit of empire. As we delve into this narrative, let us first set our gaze upon the vast expanse of the Persian Empire, stretching from the Indus River in the east to the shores of Anatolia in the west. It was an empire built on the foundations of power, wisdom, and the indomitable will of its rulers. At its helm stood Darius III, a king determined to protect his dominion against the rising tide of Macedonian conquest. In the year 336 BC, Philip II of Macedon, Alexander's father, had begun to make incursions into Asia Minor, laying the groundwork for what would become Alexander's campaign. Following Philip's assassination in 336 BC, Alexander ascended to the throne, inheriting not only his father's ambition, but also his military genius. With an army forged in the fires of discipline and loyalty, Alexander set his sights on the Persian Empire, driven by an insatiable hunger for glory and a vision of a unified world under Greek rule. The first major challenge Alexander faced was the conquest of Asia Minor, which he achieved through a series of brilliant military maneuvers. The Battle of Granicus in 334 BC marked his entry into the heart of Persian territory, where he defeated the satraps of Asia Minor, sending shockwaves throughout the empire. This victory opened the gates of Asia to Alexander, allowing him to march deeper into the Persian dominion. As Alexander's army advanced, they encountered and overcame numerous challenges, from the formidable defenses of Halicarnassus to the treacherous mountain passes of Cilicia. With each conquest, Alexander's legend grew, as did the fear and respect in which he was held by his enemies. Darius III, aware of the danger that loomed on his western borders, began to muster his forces for a grand showdown. The year 333 BC saw Alexander face off against Darius at the Battle of Issus, where the Persian king's vast army, bolstered by its famous scythe chariots and heavily armored cavalry, clashed with the disciplined phalanx formation of the Macedonians. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander emerged victorious, his tactical genius proving more than a match for Darius's brute force. The Battle of Issus marked a turning point in the conflict, as Darius fled, leaving behind his mother, wife, and daughters, who were captured by Alexander. Following Issus, Alexander turned his attention to securing the Mediterranean coast, conquering Tyre and Gaza, before marching into Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator from Persian rule. These campaigns not only expanded Alexander's empire, but also gave him control over crucial trade routes and access to the riches of Egypt. Meanwhile, Darius III, determined to reclaim his lost territories and prestige, spent years gathering a new army, one that would be capable of defeating the invincible Macedonians. He recruited from all corners of his empire, assembling a force of unprecedented size and diversity. The battlefield of Gaugamela, situated in the heart of Assyria, near modern-day Dohuk in northern Iraq, would bear witness to a clash of titans that would shake the foundations of empires. It was here, on the vast, open plain, that Alexander's tactical brilliance and the bravery of his soldiers would face their greatest test yet. In the months leading up to the battle, Alexander had been marching through the fertile valleys and mountain passes of Mesopotamia, securing key cities and gathering intelligence on Darius's movements. The Persian king, meanwhile, had assembled a staggering array of troops from across his empire, including infantry, archers, and cavalry from as far afield as Bactria in India. According to ancient sources, Darius's army numbered in the hundreds of thousands, with some estimates suggesting as many as 1 million soldiers. As Alexander's forces approached Gaugamela, they encountered the Persian army deployed across the plain, its line stretching as far as the eye could see. The Macedonians, vastly outnumbered but battle-hardened and disciplined, formed up into their trademark phalanx formation, with long spears bristling like a forest of steel. Alexander, ever the master strategist, had carefully chosen the terrain to his advantage, selecting a site where the Persian cavalry, with its scythe chariots and horse archers, would be neutralized by the rough ground and lack of space to maneuver. The battle began with a series of skirmishes between the two armies' light infantry and cavalry, as each side probed for weaknesses in the other's lines. Alexander, riding his famous warhorse Bucephalus, led the charge himself, dashing back and forth along the front lines to rally his troops and direct their efforts. Meanwhile, Darius, resplendent in his golden armor and seated atop a majestic chariot, watched anxiously from a safe distance, relying on his generals to coordinate the battle. As the day wore on, the fighting grew more intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Persian scythe chariots, those fearsome instruments of war, proved less effective than expected against the densely packed Macedonian phalanx, which presented a wall of spears that even the most daring charioteers dared not attempt to breach. Alexander's companion cavalry, meanwhile, excelled in their role as shock troops, smashing into the Persian lines with devastating effect and sending enemy soldiers fleeing in terror. One of the most pivotal moments of the battle came when Alexander himself led a daring charge against the Persian center, where Darius was stationed. The Macedonian king, surrounded by his elite bodyguards, fought his way through the chaos, striking down anyone who dared to stand in his way. As he approached Darius's chariot, the Persian king, realizing that the battle was lost, turned and fled, abandoning his troops to their fate. With their commander gone, the Persian army began to disintegrate, its various contingents retreating in disorder as the Macedonians pressed their advantage. The pursuit was merciless, with Alexander's soldiers cutting down anyone who stood in their way, until the plain of Gaugamela was littered with the bodies of the slain and the dying. As night fell, the battle came to an end, with Alexander victorious, but at great cost. His army had suffered significant losses, while the Persians had lost tens of thousands of men. As the dust settled on the plain of Gaugamela, Alexander's victory marked a decisive turning point in his campaign to conquer the Persian Empire. The once mighty empire of Darius now lay at his feet, its army shattered and its king in flight. With the Persian army defeated and their king fled, Alexander marched towards Babylon, the imperial capital, which surrendered without a fight. The city's famous Ishtar Gate, adorned with images of dragons and bulls, was thrown open to the Macedonian king, who was greeted as a liberator by the Babylonians. The fall of Babylon was followed by the surrender of other key cities, including Susa and Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Persian Empire. Alexander's army, now swollen with Persian prisoners and defectors, marched on, driven by an insatiable hunger for conquest and glory. As they advanced, they left in their wake a trail of destruction and transformation, as ancient traditions and customs were swept aside by the tidal wave of Greek culture and influence. The legacy of Gaugamela can be seen in the enduring impact it had on the ancient world. As the Roman historian Arrian would later write, the Battle of Gaugamela was the beginning of the end of the Persian Empire and the start of a new era in which Greek culture and power would dominate the known world. The spread of Greek language, art, and architecture throughout the former Persian territories is a testament to the lasting influence of Alexander's conquests. Today, the Battle of Gaugamela is remembered as one of the greatest military victories in history, a testament to Alexander's tactical genius and the bravery of his soldiers. In the words of historian Peter Green, Gaugamela was not just a battle, it was an event that changed the course of world history, opening up the ancient Near East to Greek influence and paving the way for the spread of Western culture. The site of the battle itself has been lost to the sands of time, but its impact can still be felt in the modern-day cities and cultures that owe their existence to the legacy of Alexander's empire. The battle may have been fought over 2 millennia ago, but its influence can still be seen in the art, literature, and politics of today. As we strive to understand the complexities of our modern world, we would do well to remember the lessons of Gaugamela and the enduring power of human ingenuity and ambition. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.